In the quiet hours of a morning that carried the weight of unspoken sorrow, Kelly Osbourne tiptoed through the familiar halls of her family home, her heart heavy yet determined. It was her mother Sharon's 73rd birthday, a milestone that should have been filled with laughter, cake, and the boisterous energy of the Osbourne clan. But this year the air felt different, thinner, almost fragile, as if the very walls of the house mourned alongside them. Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary Black Sabbath frontman, Sharon's husband of over 4 decades, and the chaotic heartbeat of their family, had passed away just months earlier at the age of 76. His death on July 22, mere weeks after a poignant farewell concert at Birmingham's Villa Park, had left an indelible void, turning what should have been a celebration into a tender navigation of grief. Kelly, ever the fierce protector of her family, couldn't bear the thought of her mother waking to another day shadowed by loss. Sharon, the indomitable matriarch who had steered the Osbourne empire through scandals, triumphs, and everything in between, deserved a spark of joy. So, under the cover of pre-dawn darkness, while Sharon slept soundly in her bed, Kelly orchestrated a secret symphony of love. Balloons in every shade of soft pastel floated like whispers from the ceiling, their strings dancing lazily in the gentle breeze from an open window. Wrapped gifts, each one carefully selected to evoke memories of happier times, were piled high on a nearby table, their ribbons curling like invitations to reminisce. With her phone in hand, Kelly captured the moment in a series of Instagram stories, her voice a hushed mix of excitement and emotion. "Sure. So it's my mom's birthday today and I just decorated her room," she whispered, the camera panning slowly across the room to reveal the magic she had conjured. The lens lingered on the balloons, their helium-filled buoyancy a stark contrast to the heaviness that had settled over the family since Ozzy's passing. Then, with a gentle pivot, it settled on Sharon, still lost in slumber, her face peaceful in a way that spoke volumes about the exhaustion of recent months. "And she's still sleeping," Kelly added softly, a small smile breaking through her words, as if saying it aloud made the surprise feel more real, more hopeful. This wasn't just any birthday setup, it was a deliberate act of resurrection, a way to pull Sharon back from the edge of despair if only for a few hours. The Osbournes had always been a family defined by their unfiltered authenticity, the reality TV dynasty that bared their souls to the world through The Osbournes, a show that turned their dysfunction into cultural gold. But behind the cameras, the bonds were steel-strong, forged in the fires of addiction, fame, and unyielding loyalty. Ozzy's death had tested those bonds like never before. His battle with Parkinson's disease, which he had fought publicly with the same raw grit that fueled his heavy metal anthems, had been a slow unraveling. Kelly's last interview before his passing had been laced with quiet worry about his health, a conversation that now echoed like a prophecy fulfilled too soon. The farewell concert at Villa Park had been Ozzy's defiant roar against the inevitable, a sold-out spectacle where the Prince of Darkness, frail but fierce, commanded the stage one final time. Fans had chanted his name under the English summer sky, a sea of black t-shirts and devil horns raised in tribute. 2 weeks later he was gone, leaving behind a legacy that spanned decades, from the gritty Birmingham streets where Black Sabbath birthed heavy metal, to the Hollywood Hills where he became a reality TV icon. Sharon, who had met Ozzy in 1970 as a 19-year-old music executive and married him 5 years later, had been his anchor through it all. The rehabs, the excesses, the near-death experiences that read like rock and roll myth. In the aftermath, Sharon's public appearances had been few and fraught. Her first sighting since the funeral was a gut punch to fans. Sharon, usually the picture of poised glamour with her signature red lips and sharp wit, looked hollowed out, her eyes carrying the weight of a widow's vigil. The funeral had been a somber affair, attended by rock royalty and family alike, but it was the private moments, the quiet nights when the house echoed with absence, that cut deepest. Sharon had taken to social media in the days following, her words a raw thank you to the fans whose overwhelming love and support had been a lifeline. "Your messages have been a comfort in this unimaginable time," she wrote, her vulnerability a rare glimpse into the woman who had always been the family's unshakable force. Jack Osbourne, Kelly's brother and Sharon's son, had echoed that sentiment just days earlier on Good Morning America. With his own history of personal battles, including a divorce, health struggles, and the demands of fatherhood, Jack spoke with the quiet authority of someone who had walked through fire. "She's okay, but she's not okay," he said, his voice steady but laced with pain. "I know she feels the love." It was a simple truth, one that captured the duality of grief, the surface resilience masking the churning undercurrent of loss. Jack, who had produced documentaries on his father's life and battled his own demons, knew better than most how the Osbourne name was both a blessing and a burden. a magnet for adoration and scrutiny in equal measure. For Kelly, this birthday gesture was more than decoration, it was defiance. At 40, she had carved her own path in the shadow of her parents' fame, from her bold fashion choices and unapologetic advocacy for body positivity, to her role as a mother to her son Sydney, born in 2022. Motherhood had softened her edges, teaching her the quiet power of small acts. She had shared glimpses of her life post-Ozzy on social media, candid shots of family gatherings, tributes to her father's music, and now this intimate reveal. The balloons weren't just festive, they were symbols of levity, a reminder that even in darkness there could be lift. The gifts? Curated treasures, perhaps a vintage Black Sabbath vinyl, a custom piece of jewelry echoing Sharon's love for bold statements, or a photo album chronicling the family's wild ride. As the sun crept higher, Kelly imagined her mother's reaction, the slow blink of surprise giving way to a genuine laugh, the kind that crinkles the eyes and shakes the shoulders. Sharon, waking to this orchestrated tenderness, might pause at the threshold of her room, taking in the balloons that bobbed like forgotten dreams. She would see the effort, the early morning quiet, the careful wrapping, and in that moment feel Ozzy's spirit woven into the surprise. He had always been the one for grand gestures, from surprise trips to rehab disguised as vacations, to on-stage antics that blurred the line between chaos and genius. Kelly's act was his echo, a bridge across the chasm of loss. The Osbourne women had always been a force, Sharon's managerial prowess turning Black Sabbath into a juggernaut, Kelly's sharp tongue and style making her a tabloid staple. But grief had a way of stripping back the armor, revealing the raw humanity beneath. Sharon's recent vulnerability was a testament to that. The woman who once quipped through family crises on TV now navigating a world without her partner of 50 years. Their marriage had been a rock opera, passionate, turbulent, enduring.